Hi, I'm Tije Goris from DTV Capacity Building in the Netherlands. Each last Thursday of the month, I organize a webinar about 5 secrets to creating successful bicycle infrastructure. The edition of 24th of September was a special edition. We teamed up with the Dutch and Flemish city network called CIVINET Netherlands Flanders. CIVINET is part of CIVITAS. It is the European Commission's initiative on sustainable urban mobility. Have a look at CIVITAS.eu for further information. During the special edition of the webinar, I had 2 inspiring guest speakers from the CIVINET network, the city of Antwerp and the city of Heerhugowaard. The first presenting a successful approach to motivate employees to start cycling or to cycle more. The second one, presenting the approach to creating the longest bicycle street in the Netherlands. The remainder of this clip contains the recording of the presentation of the city of Antwerp.
Hello everyone, my name is Steven Windey and thank you all for your interest in this webinar. As an officer of the city of Antwerp, I am dedicated to working on the Smart Ways to Antwerp program. And first I will tell you something more about the city. Then I will frame the Smart Ways to Antwerp program, and the body of my presentation will emphasize on our employers' approach and concrete initiatives about the promotion of cycling amongst commuters. All that in 15 minutes, so let's get started right away with some general information about Antwerp. Antwerp is located in the northern part of Belgium in the region of Flanders. It has over 500,000 inhabitants, a lot of companies and commuters, many students and over 15 million tourists per year. Antwerp also has the second largest port in Europe, creating a lot of logistic transport as well. All of this creates a complex mobility situation with major flows of citizens, commuters, visitors and logistic transport all together on the roads. And to keep the city accessible and livable, we have set up the ambitious goal of a modal split of 50-50 in the city and region of Antwerp. So half of all movements should be by sustainable modes of transport and maximum half could be by car. Infrastructure developments are of course very important to achieve this, and the city works strongly on this, such as hundreds of kilometers of new or renewed cycle paths and cycle highways during the last years. But we think it's also crucial to have some soft measures to support this and to convince people to use these alternatives and this alternative means of transport. And that's the focus of Smart Ways to Antwerp, an umbrella brand to stimulate behavioral change and nudge people towards alternative means of transport. And to achieve this, we do have several initiatives. To appeal to different target groups, nudge on different levels, to have an integrated overall approach, ranging from giving information to developing new solutions together with the mobility sector. And let me now give you an overview of one of our measures appealing employers and their employees, and that's our employers approach. Here, as you can see, I am a member of a team of 5 mobility managers supported by 1 communication member and extra members who support the team with administrative tasks. And as mentioned earlier, there are a lot of commuters in Antwerp and their mobility behavior is of course influenced by the company conditions and benefits. Do they, for example, get a company car or leasing bike? Is working from home allowed, etc. Our team helps companies to set up sustainable company mobility policies, and we have 119 companies already working with us. And thanks to them, we have reached almost 56,000 employees. We always start with a mobility scan where we check how the employees are coming to work now. So we map the baseline, and here you can see that all employees engaged in Smart Ways to Antwerp, still 61.5% commutes by car. And what we do then is we apply some mathematical rules and see the potential change. So for example, people currently commuting by car that are living within 7.5 kilometers, which is a good distance to do by bike, are included in the potential change to bike. And people currently commuting by car that are living between 7.5 and 15 kilometers, which is a good distance to do by e-bike, are included in the potential change to e-bike. And this way, the company knows where the potential lies. As you can see at your right-hand side on this slide, we also calculate the potential for public transport, park and ride, and carpool by the mentioned mathematical rules. I will not focus on them here because of the focus on cycling regarding the topic of this seminar. And when we apply these mathematical rules on all 61.5% of car users, we get a potential of less than 10% of car users in favor of growth of especially cycling, from nearly 20% in the current situation to nearly 33% of cyclists and nearly 17% of e-bikers in the potential situation for smart travel. Okay, and for your info, we also look at how far the company stands on flexible working conditions. And this we do with a scan that gives percentages on different levels. And of course, we also give advice how to improve. But following, together with the company, we decide the plan of action and also which of our support services are most useful to them. And here I will focus on the model shift. So you can see we do have different services, and I will highlight the most important ones in the context of this webinar, so regarding the promotion of cycling and the pillar of model shift. First of all, it is important to be informed about all mobility options to reach your destination, your workplace. And we can deliver accessibility information via our online mobility map. Users of our website can also register and create an own account on Smartways to Antwerp in order to get tailor-made personalized travel plan advice by using the multimodal route planner. And this multimodal route planner has the big advantage to suggest not only unimodal mobility options, but also the combination of, for example, cycling before using the train and afterwards picking a bike at a bike sharing station in order to tackle the last mile. And you can consult the Smartways to Antwerp services online on a PC or a laptop, as well as via the app on your smartphone. And when an employer requests us to deliver even more tailor-made accessibility info, we can create an accessibility information sheet for one or more workplaces of this specific employer. In case some employees do not even or do need even more information in depth, we can set up personalized travel planning conversations at the workplace or online by conference call. And for those employees, we explore, amongst others, appropriate combinations of modes of transport and cycle routes in particular. Our next step for those who are interested in other mobility options is the test offer. Employees can test a range of bikes, such as city bikes, e-bikes, folding bikes, cargo bikes, bicycle trailers, and shared bikes. In addition, people also can test public transport, such as train, tram, metro, bus, and waterbus over the river Scheldt here in the city of Antwerp. And all this for 4 weeks for free, in the hope that they will see the benefits and switch. And for example, after trying out an e-bike, more than half of the respondents say they consider buying one. Excuse me, a little recheck here. Okie doke. And for your info, so far we have been installing the test offer 70 times, and overall more than 2,700 employees have been participating. The last nudge, the next nudge is our bike discount. Commuters who take the car to work and switch for at least 2 days a week to the bike can get a discount for the purchase of a new bike. We have over 2,000 participants since the start in 2017, which is far more than foreseen. So that's good. And most people are doing it to avoid traffic jams, but also because it's healthier and better for the environment. So giving financial incentives can be that extra push to make people change their travel behavior. We can hook all these illustrated initiatives on our 4 strategies. Inform by different types of accessibility information and the multimodal route planner. Induce, ideally, we launch the cooperation with an employer by an information session to all interested employees. Facilitate, illustrated by the test offer with, amongst others, different test bikes. And at last, stimulate, illustrated by the bike discount scheme. Our goal is also to create a network with the participating companies so that it's not only us talking, but they can also learn from each other, share experiences. And we organize joint thematic sessions within bike topics as shown here. And we organize our yearly CEO meeting where we discuss issues on the highest level, share best practices, making sure that CEOs, managers are on board as well. And when we look at some numbers, we indeed see that this approach is quite successful. In green, you see the numbers at the start of our cooperation program. And so it are the numbers of the mobility scans. And then in 2018, we did a survey to measure the effects of this cooperation. And that are the numbers in orange. And we see a positive shift, especially towards the bike and public transport as well, and a decrease in car use. Is it only because of our cooperation as Smart Ways to Antwerp together with employers and their employees? Probably not, because many factors contribute, of course. But it definitely played a role and is a positive evaluation. Okay, to sum it up, it is important to keep in mind that when working towards behavioral change, there's not a sole solution for everybody. Not everyone can be convinced by the same solution and the same motivating factor. So be active on different levels with different approaches and different messages. Secondly, proceed step by step. Focus on the short and long or longer term. And last but not least, involve all stakeholders. Mobility is not only the playing field of just the government, but also of public transport, the private sector, companies, etc. Coordinate, facilitate, so that you don't work next to each other, but all together towards the same goal. In case you want more information about Smart Ways to Antwerp in general and our employers approach in particular, you can check our website. So slimnaarantwerpen.be/employees, and Slim naar Antwerpen is Smart Ways to Antwerp in Dutch, the language of our region Flanders and the Netherlands. You can also check the website of the European Civitas Sportis project, in which the city of Antwerp is one of the partner cities. And you can check the LinkedIn page of Smart Ways to Antwerp. In case you do have any other questions, do not hesitate to contact me by email, or in case there are some minutes left, you can post them now. Many thanks for your attention, and the floor is yours again, Tije. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Steven. Very useful and inspirational presentation. I would like to open the floor for some questions. I already see some being posted in the chat window. So yeah, let's have a look at the first one. It's by Dick, one of our next speakers. But of course, Dick, you are invited to post some questions as well. Of course, you all might consider, okay, this was pre-arranged and orchestrated. but I think the question is quite relevant. So Dick, may I invite you to post your question or to?
Yeah, sure. Post it in the chat box as well. Seeing this presentation, I assume the results are more or less like pre-COVID, especially the photos where people were standing close together. COVID rather changed the way we move for the last 9 months over here in Holland. Probably the same in Belgium and all over the world. We tried to stay away from public transit. We work from home, etc., etc. So there's benefits and there's threats, I guess. Is there any way, or is there any thought about how the benefits of COVID might be stimulated through this program, or at least the threats might be eliminated? The threat that people will keep staying away from transit after COVID is gone, or when there's still a little risk for it, will they still flock to their own car and commute through highways again? Is there any thought about that?
Yes. The benefit is especially located on the flex shift. So I didn't mention that in detail, but next to the model shift, we're also working on a flex shift. And it means that new ways of working, home working, are stimulated by our program as well. And because of COVID, we started a learning network, and a lot of companies have been engaged there. And we do have the ambition to explore next products and services by which we can sustain other companies just to increase their policies and their habits about new ways of working and home working. So that's one part of the answer. And another part is, because of COVID, you see that a lot of people start or increase their habits to cycle. And also we as City of Antwerp and Smart Ways to Antwerp, we started a learning network about this topic. So how to continue cycling, or how to stimulate others, employees, employers, to start cycling because of COVID. And of course, our test offer is an answer for some, but now also we already have been thinking about e-steps and speed pedelecs also as part of our test offer, because we see that cycling and other aspects of micromobility can be solutions for even more people, and yeah, because of COVID as well. And so that are two extra things that we are investing in so far. And yeah, next month and especially next year, we will roll out all this.
Okay, thanks for this. Are there any other questions for Steven? Let's see. Feel free to unmute yourself and to shout out and to drop your burning issues or questions. Arnoud?
Yes, I would have a question. So a common concern here among people is that they don't necessarily feel safe on the bicycle. Do you have anything in your program to address this concern, if it exists in Antwerp?
Good question as well. When we start our test offer, for example, there is always an exhibition moment. So the provider of the bikes, he explains all aspects of bikes for the city bikes, but also for the e-bikes. And so every question can be posed there. And also you can just test and try it at that moment. And yeah, in case you do need some more information, you just can post your questions there. And you can try at the park place, for example. That's how, at the very beginning of a test period, we try to to make everyone who is or will be a user as comfortable as possible.
Thank you.
And to add to that, Steven, so I understand the users are well instructed how to safely use their bicycle. Are they also advised on, for example, safe routes or difficult traffic situations, how to cope with that?
Yeah, we also are working on that. I mentioned the option of the personalized travel planning conversations. So before the test period, people who are interested in this personalized travel plan, they can get a conversation of 15 or maximum 20 minutes. And then we check those routes who can bring them as fluent as possible to the workplace and at the same time as safe as possible to the workplace. And so, for example, when there are some options, we explore all of them. So one which is the shortest one, but another one which is, for example, 5 minutes cycling more, but safer, then we just give all these options and he or she can test them. But of course, we stress the most safe one.
Okay, thanks for that addition, Steven. Martin, you have a question as well?
Yes, Steven, do you also gather information about the experiences of the cyclists on their the route to their work, on their commute? Do they give you any suggestions for improvement of the infrastructure?
Yeah, of course, those who have been participating at the test offer, they get surveys on a short and long term, and so all comments they can give that way, and also about infrastructure, which is possible in an open field. And next to that, we also do have an URL, a website by which every user of the road and also cyclists, they can bring all remarks that they do have about roads by that hyperlink. So by that point of mentioning. So that's possible as well. And then or the city or the region or another institute who has the responsibility for that specific road, they will get this remark, and so they can give an answer on that, and not only with words but also with working on the road.
Great. So you also have a way of improving the infrastructure as well. Yeah.
Yeah. In Dutch, it's meld.fietspaden.be. So that's the website by which, in Flanders, every remark can be posted.
Okay. Well, thanks. That's another practical example to collect feedback from users, especially as road authority in that sense, to obtain the feedback that gives you insights on where to improve. Okay, so I suggest to conclude this part, should you have any questions still, Steven's contact details are now listed on the screen, but I will shortly move over to Dick. But don't worry, we'll send out the handout after this webinar. And so you can always reach out to Steven about Antwerp, their results and approaches. So